A group of scientists were flown to a planet far from Earth. They were trusted to find rocks and some signs of life there, but it all became a disaster and chaos because one of them was tricked by aliens until she became pregnant and began to terrorize her friends one by one. At the beginning of the film, there were several people doing research on the rocks on the planet. One of them found rocks that were quite strange and shiny, and inside it seemed like there was something alive. Not long after, the rocks suddenly exploded and injured two of them. One of them had been secured and received medical treatment, but there was still one of their colleagues left behind and had not been found. The exploded rocks were also secured by them to be stored, and later they would examine them when they arrived on Earth later. A few moments later, they found another of their colleagues. He looked pale and did not move. Empty, but he was still alive. After that incident, they tried to reach a normal state and forget the bad incident. Maybe it was just a natural phenomenon that occurred on the planet. But one of them suddenly became strange when the rock they found was glowing and causing disturbances to him. Even the man tried to escape from the laboratory and beat anyone who got in his way. It would certainly be dangerous if he damaged the life support equipment. The man continued to run wild until he accidentally injured one of his female colleagues. Her leg was caught between the iron bars, and the main problem was that the protective suit she was wearing was torn so that oxygen would be wasted. The woman was desperate to cut off his leg using a chainsaw, but unfortunately it actually accelerated death due to excessive blood loss. The man was still roaming out there and terrorizing one of his colleagues again, but his colleague fired her gun until the man died. She was forced to do that because she was cornered, especially since her colleague's behavior was very dangerous, if not immediately paralyzed. In the end, they buried both of their colleagues on the planet, hoping that there would be no more casualties after this. After that incident, they returned to work researching and taking several rock samples for lab testing, but problems occurred again. A woman named Sandy and her male colleague were attacked by aliens who turned out to be inhabitants of the planet. Her friend was killed by the alien while Sandy he used as a breeding ground. Sandy was very scared and became a deep trauma for her. Sad looks confused and makes it appear empty, but she doesn't want to talk to her colleagues. What happened? The next day she saw vomit, and her colleagues still felt that maybe it was just the effect of the drug injected into Sandy. One day Sandy woke up, then she went to the room where the stone was kept, as if he was dizzy and hypnotized. She went to one of her colleagues who had just taken a shower and attacked her until his colleague died. Another friend saw the incident, then Sandy also tried to attack her friend, but failed. Sandy seemed to feel something strange in her body, especially her stomach, like there was something inside it. Sandy continued to do something strange and wild. Even she entered the room where one of her friends was sleeping with his eyes open. Sandy ate his stomach until her friend died. Sandy continued her actions. She turned off the surveillance camera connection by destroying one person, then started attacking her friends. But sometimes she also failed because she was outnumbered. Sandy was injured while asking for help from her friends to help her. Her friends couldn't let Sandy like that in the end. Some of them tried to approach Sandy while carrying weapons to be on guard. At first, everything seemed fine, but suddenly, Sandy turned wild again and started causing chaos there. The weapons that were supposed to be used to guard against her backfired on them. Sandy was too strong, as if her body was controlled by aliens. Sandy begged them again for help, but Sandy continued to act wild and vicious. One by one, Sandy began to kill them. Even the strength of men was not able to face Sandy. After killing several of her colleagues, Sandy gave birth to two cute and terrifying alien babies. The baby was found by their leader, Marcus. When he was about to take the baby, Sandy was still alive and terrorized Marcus. But Marcus was able to lure him away from the baby, and then he started to take the baby and handed it to Kate to look after. Sandy, who found out that her babies were missing, was sad and angry. She faced Marcus and one of her colleagues, but she did not survive. Marcus, who was limping because he was exhausted from fighting Sandy, tried his best to end all this. He wrapped a cable around Sandy's neck until Sandy finally died. After that, Marcus returned to the room where Kate was with Sandy's babies. Unfortunately, Kate was dead because the babies ate her. A few months later, a new team was brought in from Earth to check the condition of the planet previously inhabited by Marcus and his colleagues. They were shocked to see the bodies lying there with their stomachs looking like they had been eaten. They didn't know what was happening, and it was better for them to leave the planet before bad things happened to them.